Okay, magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome ho sa ating program. Ako po, si Sunny Laraga, no? Dito po sa ating programang Immigration Corner. No? Hindi ho ko ang host nito. Ako lang ho ang nagpapakilala ng ating pinaka-eksperto sa larangan ho ng imigrasyon. Ayan. So, syempre, without further ado, pakikilala natin yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, no? Na eksperto ho sa immigration. Walang iba kundi si Attorney LIRA Simon CABATBAT. Good evening, Attorney.
Happy Huwebes.
Oy, yes, Huwebes. Happy Huwebes. Magandang araw sa iyo. At kumusta? Yung kinalalagyan, malamig ba, Attorney?
Yeah, malamig yun, ano? At saka, what's going on this week? Oh, back to school week ngayon,
Oy.
no?
Is it today or yesterday pa nagsimula?
Yesterday, nag-umpisa na sila. So, at least bumabalik na yung mga bata, no?
Okay.
Ewan ko sa Pinas kung bumabalik na. Ewan ko, bumalik na ba sila sa eskwela mga sa Pinas? Hindi pa ata.
Hindi ko alam. Yung mga apo na meron ako. Mga apo na eh.
Oo.
Hindi, alam ko, dalawa merong natutuwa sila na delay yata. Hindi ko alam kung October o November. Parang alam ko nagsimula na yung dapat nga talaga, alamin ko talaga. No? Kasi minsan, hindi ko na pinapansin kasi dahil pabago-bago, di ba? Nagbabago-bago.
Tama.
Ngayon, ang balita nga sa Scotland, nagtataas na naman ang incidence, di ba, ng COVID,
yeah.
no? So, tapos ang pagbalik yata from, is it Portugal, from Portugal, coming back, okay lang sa UK yata, no? May quarantine. Dito ba yun? Parang sa Wales naman, iba ang kanilang patakaran pagkagaling ka ng Portugal yata, no? Parang magkakaiba eh. Kanya-kanya bawat country, no?
Terribly confusing. Yeah. At saka lockdown, minsan may lockdown, minsan wala. So, it's terribly confusing. So, but hopefully, mga bata, safe sila.
Oh,
I think.
Sorry, we were about to say something. Hindi, gusto ko lang sabihin lang na yung the government is actively advertising with Pinoy Radio UK. So, marami mga may UK transitions, sabay-sabay yan, UK transitions, yung pagbalik, yung paghihiwalay ng EU, di ba? So, tapos yung mga help sa business, tuloy-tuloy yan, mga back to school, yung promo ng yung pagkain, yung pangalan ng promo na yun? Yung when you go half ng bill mo.
Eat out to help out.
Ayun. Oh, did you take advantage of it? Ikaw ba'y nag-take advantage?
No. I was always missing it. Monday through to Wednesday lang, di ba? No?
Monday to Wednesday, yes. You're right. Oo.
Every time I think about it, ako may akong oras, it's already Thursday. So, so unfortunately, I think I'm probably the only I'm probably one of the few na I was not able to take advantage.
Oo nga.
Ikaw na? Yeah?
Yes, I did. Sa may high street ng Patne, merong preto Brazilian steak or something. So, pagka regular yun, mahal, no? Yung eat all you can na meat. Yun. Kasi kung magnanandos ka, tapos yung mga eat out something, di ba? Yung sa government. Ba't pupunta ka pa ng Nando's? Punta ka doon sa mga lugar na hindi mo nakakainan na, di ba? Special. Because somehow, you would get a reduction in your bill. Di ba?
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah, kung 20 pounds, di 10 pounds lang
10 pounds.
sa'yo.
Kung hindi ko alam kung 40 pounds. Basta ganun eh. Yung mahal yung kinain namin, pero mura lang yung binayaran. And that's good, no? Oo, maganda. It cost the government daw 600 million for that, no?
Wow.
I don't know. Yun ang nabasa ko lang. Kasi yung mga furlough, ilang billion din naman ang ginastos ng gobyerno riyan. But anyway, balik tayo sa nagkumustahan kami mga kaibigan. Alam niyo naman pagka nakikita kami ni Attorney once a week, no? Kaya nagkakumustahan. Yung mga eat out. Ano nga ulit tawag doon? Ako, Diyos ko. Sponsor natin.
Eat out to help out. Pero tapos na. No?
Yes. Pero eat out to help out. Now, kasi every week, nagbabago. Meron kaming parang advisory ko ano yung updated na advert na kailangan ilabas sa radyo. Lagi tayong meron yan every week, no? Pati ngayon, meron tong linggo na to, meron tayong health professional, yung social distancing. Dalawa kami ni Maria Ellis. siya sa English, ako sa Tagalog, and we interviewed a health practitioner na community voice, si Edwin de la Cruz, who's the head of nurse practice development yata and education ng Chelsea and Westminster. So for the second time around, no? Okay, attorney. Naku, baka sabi na kaya kami nakikinig at nanonood dito dahil sa immigration. Sige, pag-uusapan natin. Pag-uusapan natin nga pala yan for this week, attorney?
So ito, actually, after last week, may nag-email sa akin, galing nga sa Pinas.
Okay.
So ang question niya, and I thought it was quite an interesting one, dahil ang dami na nangyayari nito, is it's a refusal, a visit visa refusal. So ang tanong niya sa akin, how can she appeal it? So actually, I don't think she'll mind me saying, ang pangalan niya Tess, and she was emailing from actually Makati. Sa Pilipinas nga. So, so ang sitwasyon niya, she's an adult. I mean, she's, hindi ko alam kung anong edad niya, but she's clearly an adult. May anak siya sa atin. Nanditong nanay niya, no? Yung nanay niya British na, matagal na nga dito sa UK. So, nagkasakit. Hindi naman malala, pero may sakit. So, gusto niyang bisitahin nga dito. Of course, subject to all the lockdowns nga. At the time, may delay yung application niya. But, anyway, so eventually, nakuha nga niya yung decision, and she was refused a visit visa application. So, ang question niya sa akin, can she appeal it? Dahil yung refusal letter na pinakita niya sa akin, it says she has no right to appeal. So, question niya, tama ba yun? No? And in any event, can she do something about it? So, I thought that would be a very good topic na pag-usapan nga natin. Dahil ang daming mga tao nga na nagkakaproblemang ganon, hindi nila alam, meron bang right to appeal or not? When would you have a right to appeal? O kaya pagka nagpapasok ng application, how do you maximize the chance of getting a right to appeal? So yun ang topic natin ngayon. So, appealing a visit visa refusal. Now, so unang-una, nagbagong batas in 2014. Okay? Dati, pre-2014, family visitor visa applicants, kung meron silang refusal, most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, they would have a right to appeal. It was nearly enough automatic. So, ibig sabihin, pagka may refusal nga, they can then take it to the tribunal, so the court, no? And then they can challenge it or do a paper appeal. But in any event, may challenge. And kung manalo nga sila, then the Home Office is duty bound to reverse the decision and give them a visa. Now, that all changed in 2014 when the law as regards nga appeals also changed. So ngayon, there's no longer, family visitors no longer have a full right to appeal. So it's, whereas before, as I say, it was near enough automatic. Ngayon, it's not the case. Now, hindi naman ibig sabihin that there's absolutely no right to appeal altogether. It's just more difficult to challenge a refusal. So, ang unang-unang kailangan nyo tingnan, do you have a right to appeal? Now, that's fairly simple. Makikita mo, pagka nakuha nyo yung refusal letter, usually the last paragraph of that letter, and normally it's only at maximum 3 pages. So, yung huli, it would say there, due to the above, you have a right of appeal or no right to appeal. So, if you have a right of appeal, then it would say you have to exercise that right of appeal within 28 days. Now, to be on the safe side, 28 days, tignan nyo yung petsa ng sulat, no? And that would be on the top right-hand corner of the letter, and then count 28 days. It's actually a few more days than that because you allow for service. But just to be on the safe side, tignan yung petsa, count 28 days. If you go beyond 28 days, so you miss the deadline, you can still try and appeal if you have a right of appeal. Yung nga lang, you need permission to extend the time for appealing. And you need to say, why did you miss it? No? Kung may sakit o hindi mo nakuha. So, if you have a right of appeal, you have 28 days generally to exercise that right of appeal. Now, si Tess, ang problema niya, yung nakuha niya yung sulat, sabi niya, actually it specifically says, no right of appeal. So sabi niya, unang-una, tama ba yun? I mean, it's the Home Office do not have to give a right of appeal. No? Now, Um, However, if you are a family visitor visa, no, and ang tawag nga nila human rights issues are raised, they should really give you a right of appeal. So sa kanya, I would say that the Home Office actually made a mistake because it's her application, pamilya nga siya, nandito yung nanay, may sakit yung nanay. So I would imagine that invariably raises an Article 8, now human rights. So let's talk about that a little bit. So ang unang titingnan nila when they're considering an application yung Home Office is if it's a family visit visa application, is there human rights? Are there human rights representations? So you don't even have to say human rights, although it's a good idea to say human rights. It could also be not that it's ang sabi nga nila, it's implied. So in Tess's case, kung sinabi niya, nandiyan ang nanay ko, may sakit nga siya, matagal na siya doon, gusto ko siyang bisitahin, maybe she's even alone, so I want to just see my mother. Kung yun, then chances are that she should have been given a right of appeal because she raised clearly human rights, as long as the Home Office don't also think that there's no prospect of success. But we'll park that to the side for the moment. So if you've engaged human rights, then in your application, kahit nga visit visa application ka, they should really provide you with a right of appeal. Now, kung wala doon, even if you've said human rights and they say no right of appeal, what can you do? And this is really the thing that I was discussing emailing with Tess. So sabi ko sa kanya, okay, she has a number of steps and choices. So sabi ko sa kanya, unang-una, sulat siya sa Home Office, no? Sabihin niya, okay, can you reconsider my application? Point out where she thinks they've gone wrong, no? Baka hindi nila binasa maigi, na may sakit nga yung nanay, for example. And in any event, secondly, sabihin mo, they should reconsider your right of appeal. So, kahit nga sabihin nila, no, we're going to still refuse it, they should reconsider, or you want them to reconsider nga the right of appeal. So if they reconsider it, give her a right of appeal, then 28 days will run from the new decision. Now, if they don't reconsider, no, then the second option is what's called judicial review. Yung judicial review, it's one of the more complex procedures in immigration. So basically you're not challenging the decision itself, but you're challenging the process. No? So ang kaso niya, hindi nila tinignan maigi. Rather than it's not an appeal as such, it's a challenge to the process. Now, the problem with judicial review is it is complex and it is expensive because it goes through various stages. But generally, the deadline for judicial review is 3 months. So 3 months from the date of the decision, or if there's a second decision that they're not going to grant her a right of appeal, then 3 months from there on. Kung manalo siya by way of judicial review, then the Home Office will have to make another decision, okay? And then they can decide whether or not to grant her a visa, a visit visa to come into the UK. But I mean, it's probably, frankly, cheaper and faster to make a new application if she thinks that she just missed out on some documents. So in Tess's case, sabi ko, okay, tingnan mo, nagpadala ba kayo ng doctor's report, for example, no? To just support more strongly the human rights aspect. If you did not, and you're making a new application, then include that next time around. So the moral of the story, if you like, is visit visa. So visit visa application, beware 2014 change, no automatic right of appeal anyway. If it is refused, you have 28 days to appeal it if you have a right of appeal. If the refusal has no right of appeal, bearing in mind, of course, that 28 days, ask for reconsideration. Okay, if they reconsider, they still say no, then consider if you want to judicially review it. But beware cost, and also it is a complex procedure. No, And then, but if you do get if you make a successful judicial review application, then the next thing really is being able to appeal the decision if it's refused. I mean, if all else fails, kung kasalanan mo dahil hindi mo pinasok nga yung lahat ng mga dokumento, or you failed to explain, then it may be faster, cheaper also to simply make a new application. Pero pag magpasok ko yung panibagong application, explain why you're making a new application and why is that different from the old application. So hindi nga lang basta-basta yung pasok nyo without any kind of explanation. So, if you have a visit visa application, as I say, family visit visa, don't give up immediately. Okay? It could also be na nagkamali sila. Don't take it at face value. I was reading an article that something like 30% of refusals nga the Home Office in fact did not have the correct facts. Hindi nila tinignan maigi. So don't take it as at face value. Hindi ibig sabihin na just because their home office, it doesn't mean na tama nga sila. Review it, and it may well be that you have a good right of appeal.
Okay. Ayun, yun. So, alright. So, marami kang tinalakay dito. No? Meron palang unang-una yung appealing. Kung meron kong right to appeal within 28 days, if it's... Okay. Paano nga uli yun, attorney? It will say, when you are refused, it will say there if you can appeal or you cannot appeal. But when it says you can appeal, then within 28 days nga, gagawin mo yung unang-unang stage na sinasabi mo, no? Which is to write to the Home Office and point out. Who will point out? You, with the help of the the solicitor, no? Yung immigration solicitor. Diba? Hindi naman pwedeng i-point out lang niya. How is it? Is it in a form na merong you have to fill up? This is for human rights something, no? Because my mom is dying. Who would do that? Is it like a form ba? Or is it like merong dokumentong sinasabit na hindi lang na templated na pinifilapan? Paano ba yan, attorney?
Yeah.
Just for us to have an idea.
Yeah. So it's they're now online appeals nga. So kailangan mo sabihin doon why it is that you say that you want to appeal. Pero unang-una ito, really, I suppose the main moral of the story is pag magpapasok kayo ng application, visit visa, sabihin natin, especially visit visa, because that's quite difficult. No? Ang daming mga tao na re-refuse on visit visa dahil hindi sila naniniwala na babalik ka pa. No? So, kung magpapasok kayong visit visa application, importante, say the words, no? Human rights, no? If it's involved. So,
Teka muna. Yung sinasabi mo human rights, pag na-deny na, pero shouldn't you start with the application na doon ba lang sa application nakikita reason for visiting the UK? I'm visiting my mom who's sick. Hindi ba yun? Di ba nandun na yun? Yun na ba ang pinakamalakas na reason mo so that if ma-refuse, you can have a reference to that rather than simply making a generic visit visa application and then when you got refused, saka ka nagsasabing, hey, this is a violation of my human rights because my mom is sick and we have to visit. Nag-iisa siya. Paano yung attorney? Tama ba yung sinasabi ko? Mali ba? Baka mali yung tinatanong ko.
No. Tama ka actually. So, ang unang-unang titingnan nyo, so be careful. Pag magpapasok kayong application,
ito yung application pa lang ha? At the start. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay? So, hindi yung refusal ha?
Yung sabi mo, when do you say it? You say it already at that point.
Okay.
No? So, yung application na papasok nyo, which is an online application, sabihin mo doon, okay, ano bang rason? So, you making gusto mong bisitahin nanay mo dahil may sakit nga siya dito, she's living in the UK, British na siya, lagay mo yun. And then don't forget, just add also headed human rights, no? Tapos underneath that lagay mo doon, well, I would like to visit, as stated, I'd like to visit my mother, she's my only family, for example, kung siya nga lang. So say the words, note the phrase, human rights, no? Dahil nga, yun
at the outset, pwede na pala yan? At the outset, attorney?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, nakalagay human rights.
Yun. Yeah, importante yun. Dahil you see, kung hindi mo sinabi, So sabihin natin si Tess hindi niya sinabi na bibisitahin nga yung nanay niya dito. Actually, she just wants to come to the UK, maybe, I don't know, to go shopping or something like that. Then clearly, you have not, hindi niya sinabi yung human rights, no? She did not say that it's a family visit application. So pagka na-refuse siya, kung ma-refuse siya on that basis, then she wouldn't have a right of appeal. There's not even any point challenging it by way of judicial review. Pero sinabi niya yung may sakit ang nanay, gusto niyang bisitahin nga dito. So kahit hindi niya sinabi yung phrase human rights, the Home Office really should know, because it's implicit nga from the application, that human rights is being raised. Dahil yung nga, bibisitahin niya yung nanay niya nga dito. But just to be on the safe side, when you submit your application, say the phrase, human rights, and why you say that it's engaged. I mean, human rights, just so we're clear, Article 8, in fact, ang sabi doon, right to respect for private and family life. So, Article 8 actually says, everyone has the right to respect for his private and family life, his home, and his correspondence. Yun ang sabi ng Article 8. No? So, if you are being stopped from seeing your mother, in the United Kingdom, so hindi nga lang siya pwedeng magbiyahe because she's sick, no? Then arguably, that is in breach of your right to family, no? To pursue that family life, kahit nga lang bisita. So tama ka, Sonny, in fact. So, from the beginning, you need to be aware of human rights, because that's the thing that would give rise to a right of appeal. Without human rights in family visit application, there's no right of appeal. But you can only appeal now if there's a breach of human rights. And so, if you don't mention it, they walang appeal.
Okay. Ang tanong ko, kanina parang isa sa mga remedies na sinasabi mo, well, of course, first is you have to write to the Home Office, di ba? Dahil kung ikaw na-refuse. Second, judicial review, which is quite expensive process, like sinabi mo. Ikatlo is to reapply again na lang. Hindi ba parang two things ang pumapasok sa isip ko? Hindi ko alam kung nagbago na naman ang batas. Kasi may 2012 na mga changes. Ngayon, 2014 itong sinasabi mo ngayon, di ba? Oo. Nung araw, pag sinasabi nila, huwag ka magpasok ng fresh, kunyari na-refuse ka, huwag ka magpasok ng fresh na application within 6 months. Parang palipasin mo, because the rationale behind that is that your situations or circumstances might have changed in 6 months time. Pero anong sinasabi mo na to remedy it, you can also apply again? Kailan yan? Tapos the second question is, hindi ba makakasama sa'yo, kunyari kare-refuse lang sa'yo, magre-reapply ka, baka makita kaagad na, kare-refuse lang sa'yo, hindi kaya it will work against you? Against your favor?
Yeah, anyway, yes and no. So it depends really kung anong sitwasyon, no? So, if there's been, so if you make an application and there's, and you admit nga na ikaw, that those are the facts, you did not raise nga the, issue of human rights, then arguably there's no, if you make an application immediately, then they will just refuse it exactly on the same basis, no? Pero sabihin natin, nagpasok ka ng application, nakalimutan yung ipasok yung medical report ng nanay, o hindi mo sinabi yung medical report ng nanay, no, na may sakit siya, and you've not backed it up, and the refusal was, well, there's no reason why your mom can't go to the Philippines to visit you, no? Then, ibig sabihin, hindi mo sinabi sa Home Office yung dahilan, no? So, in that case, when you make a new application, you have to explain why are you making this application now? What is the change, no, in the factors, no? So, say there in the previous application nga, we did not note my mother's illness. And because of that, I'm making new application. So in that case, it's logical that you're making a new application. But at the same time, if you make an application and then that's refused and it's exactly on the same facts, there's no point submitting an application. No? So
a third application na yan. A third na sinasabi mo. A third application. Well, you had the first. You now made a second application because you want to beef it up with some hindi mo napakita yung mga medical records or something, no, to satisfy or to prove that your mom is sick. Are you now saying it's a third application? That what you're saying? Hindi.
Not entirely. So so if we take Tess's case, no? So ang choice niya ngayon, she can either make a new application. So this time around, maybe with more supporting documents. I mean, sinabi naman
May
niya.
time ano ba yan? Sorry, attorney, masingit lang ako. Ano ba yan? May pahihinugin ka ba muna ng time? Mga 1 month, 2 weeks, o ano? O hindi? As soon as you were refused, and kulang pala ng mga medical records na dapat to beef up my application. Pwede ba? Maski the next day o a week after?
Yeah, there's no time limit na that you have to wait, say, 6 months or a month bago mo ipasok yung application. But it very much depends on the facts. So in Tess's case, kung hindi niya, I mean, if she did not mention na may sakit si nanay, no, and because of that there were no supporting medical documents, no, then so nakalimutan nila o hindi na, they didn't think it was relevant. Then absolutely, in her case, there's no point waiting another month, especially kung may sakit si nanay. No? Kung may sakit si nanay, could be na lalala nga siya. So she may want to come into the UK sooner rather than later. So in her case, I would say, okay, kung yun sitwasyon, then you may want to make an application pretty quickly. No? Firstly, because practically speaking, nanay may need her here to actually look after her. Also, there's no point waiting. Because waiting 6 months does not change the fact na nakalimutan niya. If that's the case, hindi nila nilagay. So in her case, either she can make a new application if she thinks that they forgot to say certain things that then led to the refusal, or she can then, because in her case, there's no right of appeal, as long as the 28 days has not passed yet, ang payo ko, she should maybe write to the Home Office. And it doesn't have to be anything formal. Yung tanong mo sa akin, is there a form? For reconsideration, doesn't have to be anything formal. A letter would do. Pero sabihin nga niya doon, why it is that she wants it reconsidered. No? Now, bear in mind, you have 28 days, though, to appeal. So, if she applies for reconsideration and they deal with it within 28 days, then that's fine. But if the 28 days is due to expire, then she may want to appeal already that decision. No? Now, you can still appeal, even if the Home Office say you have no right to appeal, you can still appeal it. But just beware, it could be that by the time the judge looks at it, the judge may take the view that actually there was no right of appeal. So it's not a straightforward process. But as I've said, the moral of the story really is, in family visit visa applications, kailangan yung sabihin, human rights. No? Why do you think that is engaged? So, kung kamag-anak niyo, in Tess's case, nanay nga niya, it's probably easier to argue human rights, right to family. Pero kung sabihin natin, pinsan nga lang, no? Then that's probably more difficult to argue nga human rights, even though, strictly speaking, it's a family visa application.
So, in a way, are you saying that other than the justification of an Article 8 as a strong reason for appealing, okay, lahat ng ibang refusal reasons ng visit visa hindi na appealable? Yun na ba ang ibig sabihin? It only excludes, para exempts this kind of an application for family reasons, by way of, lalo na yung very close. Sabi mo nga, pinsan hindi pwede. So mom or dad, no? Yun lang ba ang pinaka, one of those parang nakikita mo reasons or cases by which there might be a chance of succeeding in appeals? Yung mga refusal in other applications, are you saying parang blanket na refuse lahat yan? Wala nang right for appeal?
Exactly. Yeah. So, if it's
okay.
a visit, yeah. So, sabihin natin, tourist visa, just wants to tour the UK, no? Walang pamilya nga dito, or no representations to that effect were made. Na-refuse nga yung application niya, no? There's no right of appeal. So there's no challenge by way of an appeal to the tribunal. Ang maganda ng appeal, it means you actually, it's like going to court, no? So masasabi mo doon, you make a statement, you provide your document, titignan ng judge. So it's a proper consideration or reconsideration of the facts because it is a full appeal. But if you don't have a right of appeal, which is on human rights grounds, it means at best titignan nila yung process. Did the Home Office follow the process properly? If the judge thinks, or indeed the Home Office thinks that they followed the process properly, there's no right of appeal. So tama ka. Unless there are human rights grounds, there's no right of appeal.
Attorney, ang tawag dito? You mentioned a judge. Okay, saan nangyayari yan? Give us a picture of what the real situation is. Somebody applied, na deny, na refused. Okay, they make an appeal. Saan pupunta yan? Do they submit it do sa local embassy sa Pilipinas? And then it's sent by pouch to the UK? And then it goes to the judge or sa Home Office? Paano yan? And can they secure, say for example, can they secure the services of an immigration solicitor right then and there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can. I have a lot of clients not coming from abroad, so they just email me documents and advice. So you can engage absolutely legal advisor, solicitor, fairly quickly, and in some cases, it's probably a good idea so to do, so that you can ensure nga na time limits are adhered to, at saka that all the proper papers are submitted. So putting aside the issue of COVID, which has now led to a lot of cases being heard remotely, you have so it's a formal appeal form. So sabihin natin na refuse nga.
Oh, na refuse sa Pilipinas.
So it's a formal appeal form that is then, and there's a right of appeal. It's a formal appeal form that is submitted. That goes actually to the tribunal here. Okay.
So ipapadala pa, i-send pa.
But it's online.
Online,
and,
okay.
The Home Office then gets a copy. Before the certain things need to be adhered to. The process has also changed fairly recently, mainly because of COVID. So a lot of things are done remotely. Documents are then prepared. It's lodged with the court. Copies are provided to the Home Office. So yung appeal, it actually takes place. If you are opting for an oral appeal, it actually takes place in the United Kingdom. So strangely, yung appellant, so in that case, in this case, Tess, she's not the one who's going to give evidence at the tribunal. In fact, yung nanay niya ang magbibigay ng evidence. So the appeal actually gets considered in the United Kingdom.
Matagal ba yan? Kunyari, halimbawa, in-appeal na-refuse, pinadala ang dokumento, sabi mo nga, ang appearance dito nung appellee. Yung mother, no? Yung mother. Oo.
Yung sponsor.
Yung sponsor, okay. So, dito gaganapin yan. Gaano katagal minsan? Does it take time? Is it a long process? Is it like a dragging process? Or does it depend on, siguro ba sabihin ng Home Office, kulang ako sa tao, and it drags on? Ano ba ang situation sa mga ganyan?
Yeah, it's actually not so bad. It doesn't really drag on that nothing is that it's not dealt with. It's just it queues up. So at the moment ang bagal nga, but that's mainly because of the administrative delay that's being caused by COVID. So patong-patong nga ang delay ngayon. So I would say usually you should really get an appeal date within about anything between minimum 6 months. You're probably looking at more in the normal times, 8 months. But at the moment, I think you need to allow for 12 months before you can get a hearing date. It can be quite a long wait, but it's not that it's wala namang nangyayari. As soon as you appeal, there's a big lull, a big waiting time, but otherwise it will get heard, it will get listed.
Ayun, okidoki. Alright. May mga bumabati rito. Basahin ko lang mga pagbati at least hindi naman masayang yung kanilang pag-message sa atin, attorney, no?
Yeah.
Baka sabihin nila nako, hindi man lang kami na-acknowledge, mabati sa atin. Gusto siguro
Oh,
ng papansin, no? Okay, ito yung ating very good friend, si MM Giling. Hi, good evening po, sir and ma'am. Good evening, MM, mabuhay ka. Meron si Glomain Rose Cancino Martinez. Sabi niya, good evening, ma'am and sir. Ayan. RG Menodin, hello po, good evening po, Sir Sunny and Ma'am Lira. We are watching here in Spain. Keep safe and God bless po. Ayun. Si Gianna Tenko, sabi ni Gianna Tenko, sabi niya, is good evening po, Sir Sunny and Ma'am Lira, watching here in, CA? Cardiff. Watching in Cardiff, South Wales, UK.
Wow.
Ayan. May tanong dito, no? Si Alma. Asa na ba yan? Okay. Sabi ni Alma, nabuntis po ako ng isang Italiano at ayaw ho akong pakasalan. Paano ho ako mag-i-stay ho rito? Illegal po ako. Illegal ba siya?
Okay.
Illegal ka?
Yeah.
Okay. Baka overstaying siguro illegal na. Nabuntis. Pagka ganyan, nabuntisan ng mga Europeans, is there a way? Kunyari, yung anak nila na ipinanganak, can that child be the reason? Human rights na naman, no? Article 8 pa pwede bang gamitin yan?
Well, actually, it's probably more EU law, no? Rather than Article 8 may still be applicable, but it would be potentially EU law. Okay, hindi pa siya nanganganak, I imagine, no? Pero Italiano yung ama ng bata. Okay, she will need the cooperation, of course, of the ex-boyfriend, kung ex na nga siya ngayon, to see if he can get a passport, an Italian passport for the child, no? So it could be that she can argue she is the sole carer for the child in the United Kingdom and that child is Italian. So that's one possibility. So under EU law, and second possibility nga is under immigration rules, pero iba nga yun. And if you're making an application under EU law, you can't also submit an application under immigration rules because the two are quite distinct legal provisions. So there's a possibility also that you can make an application under the immigration rules on the basis that she has a child in the United Kingdom whose best interest will be served by remaining in the UK. But of course, kung batang-bata pa, dahil baby pa nga yung bata, it's less strong dahil hindi nga siya lumaki nga dito. So in her case, she has the possibility of two options. But obviously she needs to wait until the child is born. It's probably not, it's certainly not a bad idea though to start looking at it now, especially dahil nag-Brexit na tayo.
Ibig mo sabihin, pagka bata, mas maliit ang chance, mas mabuti yung, let's say, nagkaedad na yung bata, 10 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, ganun. So, yung mga ganyang cases, halimbawa, siya ay mas malakang chance pauwiin. Kamukha nun, ayaw na yatang, ng Italiano, no? Ayaw na siyang, siguro, no? Tulungan.
Wala na sila. Could be, wala na sila. So, I mean, let's look at it this way. So, kung Italiano yung tatay, so the child more likely than not would also be entitled to Italian citizenship, probably, no? So he would need to help her to get nga a passport for the child. Pero kung wala na sila, hindi na sila nag-uusap, then it's unlikely na tutulong nga siya. So if that's the case, then it may be more difficult for her to establish nga na talagang Italian citizen yung bata. So she may then need to rely on immigration rules. Now, tingnan natin yon. Kung immigration rules ang gagamitin niya, the rules say, one of the provisions say, okay, it would be generally regarded in a child's best interest to remain in the UK if that child is, say, 7 years plus. So dito na lumaki. Kung yung bata ay baby pa, then that will be quite difficult. So, pero kung yung bata, sabihin natin, wala siyang ginawa between now and 7 years from now, once the child hits 7, that's a possibility that he would be able to say, well, actually, dito na ako lumaki, dito ako pinanganak, dito ako lumaki, and nandito mga kaibigan ko, hindi ako marunong Tagalog. All those things can count towards showing that it's in his best interest to remain in the UK. Now, also, in her case, kung dito na pinanganak yung bata, dito lumaki yung bata, and he's 10 years old, sabihin natin, don't forget, under the provisions allowing allowing children to register in the UK, at the age of 10, he can actually apply for to be registered, and then he gets a British passport.
Okay. Hindi naman natin ina-advise, no, pwedeng they should be silent about it. No, siguro parang hinahabol, siguro reading between the lines, no. Siguro yung mother gusto niya mag-stay dito by virtue of the child, no. Kumbaga ginagamit yung anak. Yan ba pwedeng quiet ka lang muna and then we stay on for about 7-10 years? If that's the case, kunyari, malaki-laki na yung bata. Avoid anything, complications, wag kang pahuli sa pulis, wag kang commit any crime or anything. Be quiet. Pa pwede yun?
Well, I mean, it's then mainly the people I come across, it's a question now of fact, no? Dahil mahirap maghanap ng trabaho kung wala kang papeles, no? And it could also be, I mean, 7 years is a long time, certainly 10 years. I mean, a whole decade with that kind of situation is just, it must be quite depressing. No? So sometimes yung mga taong nag-iintay, it's not so much na they want to stay quiet because they don't want to, they want to maximize their chance of remaining in the UK. It's more a question nga of practicalities, no? Dahil yung mga taong yun, when the child is born, busy ka. Usually, kung wala kang trabaho or you're in that kind of situation, you probably don't even have the money to even pay for the home office. So, ang priority mo, of course, is yung baby mo, no? And then, when they reach the age of 7, and they are in full-time education nga, that is when, para bang lumuluwag na ang sitwasyon mo. And coincidentally, that's actually the time that they then pursue the application. So, when the child is 7, and also the circumstances are right, nga. So, but in her case, it's obviously a long time to wait, no? And I do think na she should see, okay, is there, kahit wala na nga sila, it could also be, I mean, yung tata, yung Italiano, it could be that he wants also his child to remain in the UK. So, I would imagine, no? So, it's also so it's in his interest too, in order to continue, in order to have that relationship, nga, to help the child to be able to remain, and along with that, yung nanay.
Okay, attorney, may pagbati tayo at dalawang questions pa rito, no? Si Rose Belarma, nakakatuwa, nanonood sa atin from Belgium, no? International international pala ang beauty natin, no? Beauty mo at saka beauty ko. Okay. Nancy Amores Nicole, for family visit invitation, what is the chance of my daughter, who is a permanent BPO employee, to come over, and could she bring her son, who is still in school, for a summer or Christmas holiday?
Well, chances, it should
Gusto mo
be...
ulitin ko yung tanong? Nakuha mo ba?
Yeah.
For family visit invitation, what is the chance of my daughter, who is a permanent BPO employee, and a BPO employee, to come over, and could she bring her son, who is still in school, for a summer or Christmas holiday?
Yeah. It's BPO, is that a bank, or am I getting
BPO para ano yan, business yung mga processing, yung mga call centers, mga ganun yata eh. Yung ba yan, Nancy, paki-message mo nga. Yung BPO, kasi alam natin BDO, Banco de Oro, pero ito BPO, Bravo Papa Oscar.
Yeah, I don't know what but I mean, the point is meron siyang trabaho, no?
Permanent. Baka yun ang gusto niyang ibig sabihin, na merong to prove na may babalikan, may trabaho, na permanent sabi. Baka nga yun. Yan.
Yun. So, kung permanente yung anak niya sa BPO, no? Mapapakita nila may sweldo nga siya, okay naman ang sweldo, and she's allowed a holiday or even a sabbatical kung matatagalan nga dito sa UK, then absolutely, you should make an application or she should make an application for visit visa. Kung gusto niya dalhin yung apo mo dito, yes, you can also do that. Yung nga lang, it's really a question of explaining it properly. So, if she's going to be longer than say 2 weeks or 3 weeks, no, then kailangan yung sabihin is that will she still have the job to go back to? So it's good practice to just have a quick letter nga galing sa BPO, sabihin doon, yeah, we're aware that she's entitled to holidays. We're aware she wants to go and visit her mother in the United Kingdom. We confirm that we don't have difficulties with that, and of course, when she comes back, she will simply come back to her permanent employment, and maybe add also na kailan siya nag-umpisa doon. If you can also add the income nga niya, kontrata. So it's for you really to prove nga na meron siyang babalikan sa atin. Now yung bata, it's important anyway, also on a practical basis, that you time it with the school, no? Because otherwise the home office may say, well, hang on, alisin mo yung bata for 3 months from the school. That does not make any sense. So they will may be concerned about the genuineness nga of the intention. Pero kung summer holiday nga din yung bata, again, kuha yung sulat galing sa eskwela. Sabihin nila siguro naman doon, yeah, we have school holidays on, and then timing nyo. So explain nyo. So the good news is, ang sagot, yes, absolutely, they can make an application, and as long as you are careful nga and you submit the documents and you explain the documents, especially on intention, no reason why they should not, of course, get a visit visa. Now, that is yung situation mo yun, that's actually exactly where you need to mention the phrase human rights.
Doon na human rights. Oh. Pero pagka ganyan, attorney, hindi ko alam kung style ng British government ngayon, no, or ng Foreign and Commonwealth Office, FCO, na magdi-deny, no. Halimbawa na-refuse diyan, wala nang right of appeal because it's not under wala tong mga Article 8 to justify it, di ba?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really quite difficult for normal, if you like, standard visit visa applications. No, if you're not able to submit, Article 8 private family life, no, yeah, absolutely, it's really difficult to challenge, and in some cases nearly impossible not to challenge. And oftentimes people, they don't bother because if it's a visit visa, okay, they go somewhere else. But for family applications nga, you should raise the issue of human rights. Just in anticipation, just in case they refuse it. So at least you have the possibility, if you get to get a right of appeal, and if you want to actually appeal it.
Maski visit visa lang, gusto lang pasyalan yung nanay nila. Ito kamukha to, walang human rights. 'Di ba? May working yung may magandang permanent job sa Pilipinas, gusto lang isama siguro yung apo, yung anak nung son niya para makapasyal naman. Ayan, pwede bang applyan pa ba ng human rights yan?
Yeah. So yung lola nandito.
Yung lola nandito yata. Parang papasyalin lang yata 'di ba?
Yung lola dito.
Hindi ba masyadong mababaw 'yon? Hindi ka mukha nung naghihingalo sa ospital na mamamatay na o may cancer o 'di ba? May mga ganun.
Well, actually, no. I mean, perhaps I should have made that clear. Hindi nga lang ibig sabihin na may sakit o mamamatay na o ganoon. So, it doesn't have to be, if you like, the intense need to exercise a family life. Dahil nga, may sakit, malala nga yung sakit ng nanay dito. So, kung yung nanay, she just wants to invite them, she wants to, maybe for Christmas or kaya just the summer holidays in her case. No, absolutely. Human rights can still be engaged because human rights, the right to family, is also the right to enjoy your family life. Hindi mo naman kailangan ng some kind of intense need to be to come to the UK. So a visit to simply enjoy your family life can engage human rights.
Attorney, nakakatulong ba yung yung halimbawa matagal nang kunyari in the past kunyari yung anak niya napapapasyal niya lagi and tapos sabay naging it's been a while na siguro let's say mga 7 years, 8 years, mga 10 years ago almost thrice na nakapunta, no? Pero the last 7 years, hindi na muna nakapasyal siguro. Dahil busy, nagtatrabaho sa BPO. Halimbawa yung anak niya, o maganda na yung hanap buhay. Nakikita ba ng British Embassy yan, o British do sa na, uy, meron na dating application to. Nakikita lang, may history na nakapasok at okay naman, no? Maayos naman na nakapasok. Maganda ang record. Hindi nag-overstay. Nakikita ba yan?
Yeah, absolutely. Makikita nila because she would have a record. But you actually, kailangan mo din sabihin. So on the form, they will actually ask you, have you visits to the United Kingdom and any refusals also. So kailangan mo declare nga dun sa form. And kung sa kanya nga, kung lagi siya 7 years ago, lagi siyang pumapasok nga dito, yung nga lang because 7 years had passed since the last time because busy nga siya. She should explain it. She should actually say in the statement nga, tignan nyo, I visited the UK and so date. I stayed for 1 month. Tapos umalis ako within ample time of my visa. I went back the following year. So yung statement mo, would that help? Absolutely, because you see it shows at least 3 times before that she had adhered to her immigration conditions, no? Even though it's 7 years back.
Okay. Hindi kasi meron ako, naisip ko rin kasi aking daughter na nung mga 10, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, almost once every other year. Pero for the past many years now, hindi nakakapunta. Hindi naman na-refuse ha. Kaya lang, yun nga, ito ba yung nagpapalakas ng ito'y concept lang ng mga hindi immigration people, ordinaryong tao lang, di ba? Yung iniisip lang natin, di ba, ang mga Pilipino travel ng travel Gusto lang kasi matatakan yung mag-Hong Kong, di ba? Para kala nila, pagpunta na sa British Embassy, uy, ang daming tatak na, punta na siya ng China, kung ano-ano, di ba? Yun, nakakatulong ba yun?
No, not really.
Not really rin, oo.
No, it's one thing to go to, say, Hong Kong, so hindi naman ibig sabihin na pagkapupunta ka sa UK that you will adhere to your immigration conditions. But of course, if you're someone who travels a lot for business and for pleasure, then of course titingnan nila, it could be that they're less concerned. Pero kung once a year napupunta ka sa China, that does not necessarily mean na they will look at your application to the UK that favorably, no? So best case scenario. So if you have someone who has traveled to the UK and or anywhere really, but especially nga sa UK, yung nga lang may gap because they've been busy with life. When you submit the application, sabihin nyo doon, okay, declare the visits, declare the dates that you entered and then you left, and say, okay, and point out that's well within the visa that was granted. So on all three occasions, you adhered to immigration condition, and go a little bit further. Sabihin nyo din, but in the last 6, 7 years or even 8 years, I've not traveled to the UK or elsewhere because I've been busy, I don't know, raising my family, raising the children, for example, o kaya sa career path niya. It could be that she's far too busy at work, for example. No? So explain also the gap if you like.
Okay. Attorney, parang dagdag ko lang, comment lang yung mula kay Nancy Amores, no? Pero bibilisan ko, no? Meron tayong 2 pang question pa, no? Questions, plural. Okay. Sabi niya, okay, thank you, Attorney, for giving clarity on my concern. I look forward to seeing my grandson who I had been supporting financially. Yan pala ang reason niya. Kasi yung anak niya, pero parang binabanggit isasama yung anak nung anak niya, no? Yung son. Okay. Risa Stevenson. Dito, ang pronunciation ng PH Stephen. Sa Pilipinas, Stephen, di ba? Stephen. Pero dito yung
Okay.
PHE, Steven, di ba? Stevenson.
Yeah.
Di ba?
So confusing.
Oo
Ako nga
nga.
din.
Oo, Risa Stevenson. Anyway, seeking advice, I am a Filipino citizen with an Austrian residence card, married to a British citizen. We were supposed to fly from Vienna to London on the 14th of August with British Airways. But upon checking in, we were told that we are not allowed to fly because of my residence card. Prior to flying, we checked all the information in gov.uk and called the British immigration, both of which stated that I don't need a visa as long as I am traveling with my husband and daughter, both of whom, both of whom, putol. Siguro, baka both of whom, siguro, British, I don't know.
British siguro.
Baka, naputol eh. O British, ganun.
So
Naputol.
hindi siya pinalabas sa UK to get to Austria.
Teka natin. Ito basahin ko. Mas mahaba rin sa gilid eh. Sandali lang ha.
Oh.
At hindi ko lang papakita yung aking mukha. Makikita yung kagwapuhan ko sa side view. No? Sandali lang. Okay. Ito, babasahin ko na. Mahaba-haba pala to. Okay. Sabi niya, prior to flying out, so we checked at the information in... Teka muna. Okay. Saan ba to? Ito sabi niya, di ba? We called the British immigration, both of which stated that I don't need a visa as long as I am traveling with my husband and daughter, both of whom hold British passports, and I have a valid residence card. I would like to ask if there is a possibility to take legal action. Thank you in advance. Gusto niya na magdemanda.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, okay,
Sinabi ng immigration, sinabi ng .go UK, pwede. Tumawag sila, pero pagdating na sa airport, hindi na pwede.
So,
gusto mo basahin ko ulit? Parang isang nobela to eh. Isang novel.
One thing I don't understand is ito. Yung problema ba, yung palabas, no? Rather than coming back into the United Kingdom.
Parang palabas attorney eh. Palabas yata eh.
Kung palabas, then really...
Fly from Vienna... sorry. Teka muna, sorry. Ako, my apologies ha. Babasahin ko lang uli para medyo hindi tayo magulo. Ang sabi niya, okay, I am a Filipino citizen with an Austrian residence card, married to a British citizen. We were supposed to fly from Vienna to London on the 14th of August with British Airways. But upon checking in, we were told that we are not allowed to fly because of my residence card. Prior to flying, we checked. So, nasa Vienna pa yata, papasok ng London. Tama ba? Parang ganon, di ba? Parang ganon, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. She has a potential case. It's actually quite an interesting one. There've been quite a few obscure cases actually about it.
Okay.
So, she's actually quite right, no? Because she's an EU family member, clearly, dahil asawa nga siya, no? So, the whole point of us at least being in the EU, and that the transitional provisions still apply at the moment, at least until the end of the year for most things, and then in June and next year for some. So, at the moment, we are in transitional provision. So she just needs to check nga nito. So strictly speaking, because she is a family a member, no?
EEA family member? Hindi, iba, no?
Yeah.
Hindi, no?
EU family member siya.
Although British... British. Pero teka muna, ang idinidemanda rito, British Airways, di ba, attorney? O yung mga, hindi naman siguro yung government dahil, di ba sabi nila, nagtawag daw sila and they check na okay naman daw sila. So, sino didemanda niya? Dalawa? Sino didemanda niya rin?
So, it's not, so ito, nung pumasok, so nandun siya sa Vienna.
Nasa Vienna pa?
Nasa Vienna siya ngayon.
Teka muna,
Nasa Vienna
sa Stevenson, Miss Stevenson, pakilagay nga dyan sa message kung ikaw ba ay nasa, nasa Vienna. Ganun ba ang tama. Austrian residence card pala. Andun ka pa rin ba sa Vienna? Pakiliw na lang. Okay. Sige, attorney. mag-ano ka na lang siguro, isenaryo ka na lang dito. So kung nandun siya sa Vienna, sino didemanda? May action ba siyang pwedeng gawin? British Airways ba o yung
Yeah. It's actually quite an interesting case because, of course, we Brexited already, so it's a question of transition. So the problem she will have is this, no? Kung
teka muna, update lang kita. Sumagot na. Ang sabi niya, we are currently, asa na ba yan? We are currently living in Austria po. Ayan. Magalang siya, may po. Ayan.
Oh, yeah. So from Austria, she just wants to visit the United Kingdom nga, no? With her family, of course, no? Now, it's an interesting one because of Brexit. Now, if they are both living, if they're all living in Vienna and they want to come into the UK, kasama nga siya, then there is a provision that and I would need to check this because it's just I can't recall now how it's affected by our Brexit, but there certainly was a provision that allowed if you have British citizens nga living abroad and they want to come back into the United Kingdom, no, British nga sila, and they want to bring their family member, in her case nga the spouse, into the UK. They should also enjoy what they call free movement, no? The British nga coming back into the UK with the family member kung nakatira doon yung British. Now, as I say, I need to look. Stevenson, padala mo sa akin yung email mo because I want to check this out. Now,
bigyan natin email mo para makita niya. Yep. Ayan. So email niya dyan, no?
Yeah. So bigyan mo sa akin email mo. And I promise you, I will look into this because now I'm actually I'm quite interested also because what we need to check out now is, has Brexit affected those provisions? If Brexit has not affected those provisions, then she would be right. May kaso nga siya. And that's a problem often now with airlines, no? It is because if they allow people in that do not have right of entering to the UK, and then they refuse entry in the UK, when they land, say, at Heathrow or Gatwick, no, then that airline gets penalized heavily. No? So you will find that if they don't know or they are not sure, okay, then they would err on the side of caution. So they would simply refuse. In which case, yeah, tama ka. You should really take it up because, of course, you probably lost the airline, the fare, no? And also, it's something that really you should raise with them, no? But I tell you, Miss Stevenson, email me, no? And as I've said, I'm also quite interested now because it's not an issue. It's not a scenario that I've come across recently. Because obviously, as I said, you Brexited already. So the question really is whether the Brexit changed those provisions. If not, no, then at the very least, ang gagawin ko, I'll send you the link and you may want to raise it directly with British Airways. So at least they can give you your money back. Because if they refused you flight because, and they were wrong in doing so, then absolutely, you should get your money back.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ayan, sige. Ano pangalan niya? First name niya? Riza. Oh, hi, Riza. No? Thank you very much for watching. Bago ko basahin yung last question na lang natin sa gabing ito, Edgar Duway is saying, good evening, Sunny and attorney LSC. No? Parang London School of, Parang ano ba yan? Communications or something. LSC. Tapos, si Marilu Kinsley, good evening po. Watching from Manchester. May heart pa siya. Wow. Thank you. Okay, ito yung question. Last question na. Ako na, overtime na tayo. So maganda naman to at napakaganda ho kasi ng ating usapan. No? Ito, attorney, coming from Nia Turner, sabi niya, ask me lang kay Lira kung ang grandmother andito na for visa, pwede ba magstay longer as she is 65 years old at isa pa, she's a good help for grandchildren. Another case, wala na siyang kasama sa bahay sa Pinas. Ayan. Pwede ba yan? O
Okay.
very mababaw lang ang reason. Okay na ba yan? Pwede.
Yeah, ang problema nga yun ito. So, 6 months visit visa. Okay? And beware, actually, last time, di ba nag-usap tayo, sabi ko, okay, the
Oh.
petsa ng expiry, be careful. It's not 6 months from the date of entry. It's actually 6 months yung tatak. Yeah? So, yung kailangan yung tignan. So, be careful that she doesn't overstay. So, yung una. Now, visit visa nga siya dito at the moment, and you find, malaking tulong niya looking after the children, and of course, they enjoy her company. So, the only way really of, if you like, prolonging her stay with any kind of permanency is to make a new application, and it would really be outside the normal rules to say, it's in the children's best interest to have grandma here, ganon. But be very careful, no? In a situation nga like that, kung walang yung mga bata ay nandito naman mga magulang, so someone is certainly looking after them. Si nanay, wala naman siyang sakit, no? Kahit nga, ewan ko, nasan tatay, o kung wala niyang tatay and mag-isa nga lang siya, they will probably say, well, those facts already existed nung pumasok nga siya dito. And they nevertheless declared na babalik nga siya. So it could be careful, because it could be that they say, in that case, she entered the UK without really intending to leave, in which case it's deception. And that can have very serious consequences for any future applications. So unless you are absolutely certain that you want to take that risk for nanay, I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Ayan. Tsaka nabanggit mo na yata in 2018, 12 ba yun, na noong araw, di ba, ang mga pwedeng kuning dependents are below 18 na anak and parents na over 65 ba o 65? Dati yung previous law, di ba?
Yeah, pero nagbago
na. 2012 din yata yan.
Adult dependent route nagbago na ngayon.
Nagbago na yan, oo.
Nagbago na yun. So, mas mahirap na nga ngayon. And adult dependent applicants also, those applications are made from abroad. So, kung nandito na yung nanay, you can't simply swap that to the adult dependent route.
Ganun, hindi pala pa pwede yun. Okay.
Yeah. So, you have to go under human rights.
Sabi ni Risa Stevenson, will do po. Thank you mahaba pa, so much, attorney. Yung so niya, maraming O. Thank you so much, attorney. Tapos may smiley, ano pa siya?
My pleasure.
Will do po, will do. Ito email, kung makuha mo, madali lang naman ano ba email mo, attorney? Ano ba yan? Ang email mo, ito lang naman yan, di ba? Yan, kabatbat at douglas-simon.com. Okay. All right.
So, padala mo doon. Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to assist. Yung maganda nga itong show na ito, Sonny, show natin. It's just I learned something new. So scenarios come about that I don't come across regularly now, no, to do with you nga. So it's truly interesting, and now I'm definitely going to look that up, and then I will know. And actually, if Miss Stevenson is okay, with it, I'll mention the answer next Thursday.
Alam mo, kagandahan nito, well, this is engagement and interaction with the people. We can have direct, kita mo, from different parts pa. May Belgium, may Spain, no? Nakakatuwa. Malay natin, may mga kamag-anak dito yan. And it also concerns them. Kasi EU, although pa tapos na, pero siyempre may EU component pa rin, maski paano. At maganda ito, no? Dahil nakakaroon ng direct communication tayo sa kanila. Hindi porke hindi nagtanong, hindi natututo because nandiyan sila quietly lang, and they might have the same situation as kay Risa Stevenson, o di at least nasagot na rin ng konti yung tanong nila, di ba? Maski paano.
Yeah, okay. We're here to help, and it's truly this is the most enjoyable thing also for when I see clients. It's the interaction nga, yung sinasabi mo. Na may problema yung tao, and then and often it's not just there's often not a right or wrong answer, no. So it's a combination of different provisions to deal with one factor, and that makes it even more interesting.
Okay. All right. Okay, nagpapasalamat si Marilu Kinsley. Thank you for the shout out kanina kasi nga inacknowledge natin yung pagbati niya lang. Some people will just say, "Hey, I'm watching here from Manchester." And that's good enough.
Yeah.
At least we can acknowledge them, no? So thanks daw from Nia Turner. Thanks Lyra and Sunny. Maraming salamat. Okay. Well, I guess si Alvin, ayoko kung ano tong message na to. Alvin, ba may sadali ha? Okay ka pa ba? Baka magtampo to si Alvin kasi pag paalam natin biglang papasok yung question. Sabi ni Alvin, posible ba? Ha? Okay.
I can stay here all night.
Okay, sabi ni Alvin, posible po ba kunin ang anak na nasa Pinas sa UK if you are holding an EU passport after Brexit? Malabo na ba yan?
Yeah.
O medyo may chance pa o ano?
Yeah, you still can because there are transitional provisions nga. But you should do that as soon as possible. No, you see, dahil nandito ka na, you are still EU, of course. You hopefully now have a settlement status na nga din or permanent residence in the United Kingdom. So you still have the same rights nga as before. So the answer is yes, you can, but sooner rather than later. Kung ako ikaw, Alvin, I really would.
Okay. May acknowledgement dito from Edgar Duway. Sabi niya, napakaganda ng portion nyo, attorney, at ito ay nagagamit namin dito sa community namin dito sa Derby. Ayan.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Oo, nagagamit.
Yeah.
Kasi nagagamit. Okay. Siguro they can make use of it, no? The knowledge that they get from you, from this segment, this show. So, maraming salamat, Edgar, for saying so, no? Maraming salamat.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Very kind. Ang ginagawa ko nga din na, I'm posting a more detailed note o yung pinag-uusapan nga natin. I'm posting more detailed write-up, if you like, about it on our website. So, kung gusto nyo tignan, so for example, reference to laws, no? Because it's just impossible to discuss those really here now. So after tonight, ang gagawin ko, I'll also post a more detailed write-up on appealing a visit visa refusal. Because I think yung I get regularly actually questions about that. And if increasingly also, kung, if there are people who are concerned about their EU rights or family, because of Brexit, I'm happy to also deal with those. So email me, no? So kung yung mga taong, if I did not deal with it in detailed enough, yung viewers nga natin, o actually kung nahihiya kayo, and then you just want to ask, privately yung question nyo, just email me, no? And I'm more than happy to either provide you with brief advice nga o kaya pag-usapan natin o if I don't know it, I can hopefully point you in the right direction. And that's why we're here, no, di ba, Sonny? To try and assist yung mga kababayan natin, no?
Yes, sabi nga nila ito, well done, attorney and Sunny, helping a lot of us. Sabi niya Nancy, no? Sabi naman ni Nia Turner, UWA UK2 members are watching. Thank you. Maraming salamat. Thank you. Oo, mabuhay. At magpapaalam na ho kami. No. Okay. Well, napakasarap naman talaga, no, attorney. Napakaganda na itong ating interaction na naman. No? We advise everybody to watch as early as 8 o'clock. Ha? Make it a habit. Alas 8. No? Ganun pa lang. Pagpasok pa lang, mag-abang na ho kayo. Magtimpla na kayo ng kape riyan. Baka hindi sila makatulog ng gabi. No? Siguro tea. O, tsaa. O, di ba? Mag-abang na kayo. Para at least simula pa lang o pagkatapos talakayin ni attorney yung topic, o di mag-open forum tayo. Open forum ba tawag diyan? Open questions.
Yun na nga. Tsaka kung meron kayong mga questions nga, tapos kung hindi kayo nahihiya, you want us to deal with it in the show, just email me in advance. And if you have questions anyway, if you don't mind, like Tess, no, she didn't mind if I just deal with the scenario. Just let us, if that's okay, then let us know. So at least we can spread the advice a little bit. And that way, yung topic nga natin for the following week may be more interesting because it affects more viewers and it affects you. No. So yeah, no, it's always such a pleasure nga. No, it's happy Jueves. It's Immigration Corner.
Oo nga, happy Webes. And happy to serve. Parang ano tayo, no? It's nice kasi dahil di ba? Maski isa lang diyan na tao o dalawa o tatlo, di ba, na makaalam, ma-i-share na maiano sa mga ibang tao eh. And look at this now. The groups are now watching us, no? Sabi niyo pangalan sa Nia. Our group is watching. So, mabuhay kayo. Thank you very much for watching. Make it a habit. Happy Thursday, ha? Pagka Huwebes. Ayan. At gusto ko rin banggitin yung isa naman din. I-plug din naman natin si Dana. Kung meron kayo mga, kunyari, nag-away kayo ng boyfriend nyo, landlord nyo, nasagasaan kayo, may mga injury kayo or whatever. Ayan. Pwede ho nyo dun. No? Ayan. So, ito ho, nakakatulong ho to. Immigration on a Thursday, Legal Advice Corner on a Tuesday. Ayan. Mahuhusay ho, no? Biro nyo, mahuhusay, matatalino ang ating mga kasama. At ako saling pusa lang ho, alalay lang ho nito. Kasama ho lamang nila. Pero natututo ako, alam mo, sa every time na nagkakasama tayo, may napapasok sa aking mga ideas di ba? Lumalawak kayo ng aking knowledge. Pero hindi ako magmamarunong pag may nagtanong sa akin, Sunny, kasama ka lagi ni Attorney Lira ano ba ang gagawin sa ganito? Teka muna. May alam akong ganito, pero hindi pa ganun ka, lang, pahapyaw lang yan. Maraming nuances ng problema May kanya-kanyang di ba? Hindi basta-basta, walang one size fits all, di ba? Di ba? Oo, may situation yan Mga situation we can give them generic, pero kung medyo may complications or merong additional issues, that has to be, tag dito, explain to you sa isang abogadong katulad mo dahil ikaw makakaalam how to discuss it, diba? How to attack it or how to strategize their cases.
Well, hopefully. So, mga viewers natin, if it's immigration, absolutely, tanong nyo ako, I'll try my best. Everything else, Sony knows.
Oy, pati yung paborito natin, yung Doritos. Paborito namin ni Attorney yan. Adik ko kami sa Doritos. At saka, Attorney, bukod sa Doritos, na-discover ko sa Tesco, meron palang popcorn. First time ko lang. Mga recently lang, a month ago. So, dahil nasa bahay tayo, nagbi-binge watching tayo. Mga Netflix. So, ayun. Sabi niya kasi sa akin ni Attorney Dana, Sir Laragan, baka gusto mo mag-Netflix. Binigyan ako ng account niya, Netflix. Nag-Netflix ako.
Wow.
Popcorn sa Tesco. So, nagdagdagan na yung ating choices. Meron na tayong Doritos, meron na tayong popcorn. Mahal ang popcorn, highway robbery. Pag nanood ka, nagsisini ka ba? Do you go to movies? Watch movies?
Well, yeah, but not recently. Dahil nga, mainly they were closed. Bukas na nga sila ngayon. But yeah.
Pero before, were you watching movies? Nanonood ka?
Oh yeah. No, love cinemas. Actually, you probably know this, Sonny, that in Barnes, no, diba? Merong cinema ang pangalan ni
meron ba? Sa Barnes?
Oh yeah, ang pangalan Olympic Cinema. If you've not been, you should go. No, it used to be
Barnes. Really?
Barnes. Hindi ganun malayo.
Barnes. Okay.
Malapit sa sina namin sa Richmond. So Barnes is a good few minutes away by bus nga lang, Pero there, ang pangalan is Olympic Cinema, no? And it used to be a recording studio for people like I think it could be even the Beatles recorded there, but certainly a lot of the big rock groups recorded there. Pero ang ganda ng cinema. It's the big plush seats nga. At saka hindi ganong ang ayaw ko sa mga cinema, yung malaliit mga, you kind of squashed together. But here...
Oh, really? Yung mga theater, if you go to the theaters, manood ka ng mga sa West End, di ba nagsisiksikan kayo? Ang liliit ng upuan? Di ba?
Yun na nga.
Patas
Yeah.
kahoy pa yata yung upuan mo, di ba? Sa di ba? Di ba? So ang lilit. Hindi, pero teka muna. Pero ang gusto ko lang tukuyin diyan, gusto kong tumbukin yung popcorn. Mahal ba yung popcorn diyan sa Olympic? Kasi sa Cineworld, 8 pounds yata yung ano eh. Parang kukunti lang na mais yan, di ba? Mga corn and something. Di ba? Lumaki, kaya nga popcorn. Pero ang mahal ng ano, ang mga mga charts nila. 8 pounds
Yeah, no,
with Coke.
absolutely.
Oh, with
Yeah.
soft drink pala. With soda.
Hindi ko nga lang alam. Are you allowed to actually bring your own popcorn?
Hindi nga.
Yeah,
Oo. Hindi nga.
Are you?
Pero may friend ako. Oh, hindi. Chine-check yan eh. Pagka nagdala ka ng pagkain from outside, di ba? Pero kung may bag ka, tas andun, hindi naman i-check yata yan eh. Yung may dala-dala ka ng pagkain na kunyari galing ka na KFC siguro o galing ka na McDonald's, tapos
Ayun
papasok ka
lang.
manonood ng sine, bawal. Ganon. Dahil siyempre malulugi sila, di ba? Mawawala sila ng benta. Kasi nga ang mahal ng popcorn, di ba? Pero
Yeah,
Doritos,
Yeah.
ano yan?
Pay 8 pounds for popcorn for that.
No, that's a ano na, yung one parang hindi ko alam kung large na ano, at saka yung popcorn. Pero ang mahal ng popcorn, mahal talaga. It's kaya yung test ko, advice ko sa mga nanonood, kung nagbibinge na ako, ayaw ko lang kung sa akin pero gustong-gusto ko yung lasa, very fresh. Kasi addict tayo sa Doritos, di ba?
Doritos.
We love
Yeah, I
Doritos
tell
a
you,
lot.
We share that addiction, Sonny.
Oo nga, oo.
Unfortunately. And yun nga, I don't even know if they do small bags because I don't buy small bags.
Ako, I don't ba? Ayoko na small. Gusto ko yung talagang isang yung ano. Pero ngayon, di ba, minsan nag-iiba, nagiging 1 pound 50. Minsan babalik na 1 pound. May mga special sale. Minsan, minsan, pagka gano'n, may bila ko ng isang lalagyan, dinadala ko na eh. Na nakaka-addict eh. Lalo na pagka nagda-drive ka for long drives, iba talagang, teka muna, dapat kunin natin ano yun padala tayo ng ano doon sa Doritos hello Doritos guys.
Yeah, we should get sponsorship.
Hindi, masarap ang Doritos. Yung classic. Pero iba ang Doritos sa Amerika, attorney. Iba ang tawag nila. Dito ang tawag sa atin. Ano ba Doritos natin? Yung cheese na problema ang paborito natin, di ba? Yung kulay orange na cover.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah, so
Pero
sa akin yung pula, the hot one.
you want the hot one? Diyos ko, di ko kaya yan.
Like that.
I really-
Napaka
I really can't.
nga.
Tatlo yan, di ba? May cool, may yung maanghang, and then yun nga
Oh.
yung regular na cheese na cheese
Yeah.
ba tawag doon? Yun ang paborito ko.
the tangy. Yeah,
Tangi.
tangy,
Tangi.
the blue one, you know?
May blue,
Diba,
yung
sabi mo?
cool something yata. Pero hindi ko type yun. Type mo ba yun?
Yung blue, not so much.
Not so
Ikaw,
much, oh.
Yeah?
Hindi ko kaya yung maanghang. Yung very spicy. Hindi ko kaya yun. Doon lang ako sa parang
Yeah.
tangy na cheese. Uy, naku, napunta na tayo sa It's a happy
Sorry,
Thursday
ito-
kasi. Oo nga, oo. Makikita ka na naman kasi natin. Kumbaga, nagchichismis na naman tayo because ang next kita natin para sa immigration advice natin uli, next Thursday na naman. So, September na. Pilipinas.
Yeah?
Berber daw. So, nagki-Christmas na yan, no? So,
Wow.
di ba? At saka
Yeah,
malamig na.
Yeah. So, less than 3 months. No, less than 3 months. Christmas na natin. No? Christmas, no?
September, October, November, December. Bare months na.
So,
Lumalamig nga ngayon lately, di ba? Ang weather din nag-dip nasa 13 degrees, 11 degrees, no?
yeah.
Lower than 17. So, malamig na.
2 weeks ago, it was like Pilipinas, no?
Yes.
Init 2 weeks ago.
Oo.
Yeah, unfortunately, now ulan uli. But okay, kailangan natin ulan.
At saka yun ang variety ng buhay dito, no? Yung summer, spring, winter, 'di ba? Merong kumbaga may variety. Pilipinas kasi wet and dry lang naman 'yun eh. Dito may snow. Although I haven't seen snow in a long time, no? Napakatagal na. Snow. Miss ko na eh. Kaya lang masarap lang ang snow. Masarap ang snow pagka nakikita mo sa picture, pero pag nandun ka medyo masarap din maglaro, 'di ba? Pagka medyo malambot-lambot pa yung ice, 'di ba?
Yeah, pero kailangan marami, no?
Yun nga,
Otherwise,
kaya nga marami.
masasaktan.
Oo, siyempre. Oo, marami. Kasi pagka dito sa London, nag-i-snow pero tunaw ka agad eh. Saglit lang.
Yeah.
Pagbagsak sa lupa, wala na. Tunaw na. Hindi ka mukha sa
kaya nga.
countryside. Namimiss na namin ho ang snow. Ako, I don't know. When was the last time you saw snow? Yung talaga snow
Oh,
dito sa London. Tagal na, di ba?
siguro, what, 4 years na, no? Siguro? 4
Ay, more
years?
than. I guess, more than. I guess. Oo, tagal na rin
Oh,
ako hindi nakakita.
yeah,
Ayan.
no, it's no pity, no, it's no, I love snow. Yung nga lang usually, yeah, pagka dumating na suddenly it's gone, no? So madulas nga lang.
Pag tumigas na, yun ang mahirap. Nasubukan mo na ba
Yeah.
madulas? Ako, naku, mapapahaba ang kwentuhan namin. Napasarap ako. Yung mga listeners sabi
So,
nila, ang ganda naman kwentuhan nila, attorney, at saka ni Sunny. Diyos ko. Ay, thank
sorry
you.
po.
Ayan, addict sa Doritos. Asa ba to? May mga message dito, binabasa ko. Cheetos, ayan, Cheetos ba?
Oh, Cheetos is nice
Buti
too.
na lang, di ako kung pwede kumain ng popcorn. Ayan. Mabuhay ang kakababayan, si Lizzie Hubs. Sabi niya, attorney and Sir Sunny. Teka na, dito ko na basahin. Baka meron dito sa harapan. Ah, okay. Jonathan Kenneth Bongkawel. Watching from Harrogate. Very interesting topic po. Ito, mabuhayin po kayo, attorney and Kuya Sunny. Ayan. Edgardo Cagahastian Enriquez. Very informative and helpful. More power to attorney and Kuya Sunny. Ayan. Cheetos, sabi ni Edgar. Sabi niya, addict din ako sa Doritos. Chili Wave. Baka yun yung yellow. Blue. Chili Wave.
Blue.
Chili Wave is for me o hindi? With cheese dip. Yan.
Ano
Tapos
pangalan niya?
Doritos parang wave, may wave yung kulay, yan yata yung kulay blue, yung wave, di ba?
Could be.
Yung sayo parang black yata, almost black ang cover, di ba? Sayo hindi.
Red. Pero yun,
Red.
actually,
Oh,
yeah, it's red. Yung maanghang, you should try, I tried it with bagoong.
oh. May sinubukan ako, I gave up eh. Nakalimutan ko na ano eh. Yun yata yung maanghang. I gave up. Hindi ko nakayanan.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah, but the hot Doritos with bagoong. It's lovely.
Okay. Well, that is good. At least coming from you, may magte-testing na, no? Lloyd Balatongan, ito yung grupong kumakanta na Soulmates. Sabi niya, hello po, Kuya Sunny. Regards po to your team and all our fellow Filipinos. And then si Jovi Gabayno Fabella Vergara, watching from Staffordshire.
Oh, wow.
Oo. Blue pala is Cool Original. Nakita mo? Ang daming nanonood sa atin. Talagang ito naman, sabi ni Jonathan Kenneth, Kuya Sunny, merong popcorn pwede sa microwave. Mabili sa supermarket. Bumibili ako dati niyan, yung popcorn na bibilin mo. May parang papel yan, tapos papasok mo. Pero mas okay na ko sa akin. Very fresh pa rin yung sa Tesco na popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Oo, mas okay. Parang hindi ka na magluto, hindi ka na magastosan pa. No, yun ang mas maganda. Ayan. Bagoong, that's new. We'll try that, sabi niya. What? Bagoong?
Yeah,
With
subukan nyo.
bagoong?
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah. Pero kailangan maanghang.
Oo. Sabi naman ni Ivy Aliposa, nope, orange po ang color ng Doritos. Hindi, marami kulay ng Doritos. Ivy. Yung kay attorney red yon, yung parang spicy. Yung sinasabi ko yung tangy na cheese na orange. Tapos kulay blue, ang pangalan nun blue. Ano ba yun? Cool Original. Ayun.
Mm-hmm.
Yun.
Yeah. Yun ang paborito mo, di ba?
Yung paborito ko yung cheese. Yung kulay orange. Yun ang paborito ko.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite. Napunta na tayo sa immigration corner at iba pa. So, attorney, ayan, magpapaalam na tayo. Alam mo yung mga listeners natin talaga nag-enjoy sila sa ating kwentuhan and they also reacting, no? Yung kanilang At may natutuwa doon sa bagoong. No? Susubukan. We'll try it. Something new. Sabi nga.
Yeah, very good.
Oo.
Yeah.
Ayan. Hi, ma'am. Ang sir, chili wave pala. Heat wave. Okay. Alright. Sige. Magpapaalam na ho tayo. Attorney, yan. Baka may mga last pahabol o may messages ka pa. O may gusto, baka may nakalimutan ka, dagdag. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, I mean, yung nga, shout out, of course, to our usual Miss Giling, the lovely Miss Giling, at saka yung mga viewers nga natin. Oh, also, a shout out to a lovely lady, Mrs. Knight. Nag-iwan siya sa akin ng
Night?
lumpia.
As in gabi?
Miss Knight. Yeah, well, with a
N-I-G-H-T?
K.
Ha?
Yeah, so with a K, Knight as in K-N-I-G-H-T. So,
Okay. Kane. Okay.
gumagawa siya ng mga lumpia, and she very kindly gave me 4 big packets. So thank you. Shout out to Miss Knight. So lovely, so generous nga. And by the way, lumpia is also quite nice, I think, with bagoong. So I eat everything with bagoong.
Oh, is she selling it or just parang for personal consumption?
No, she was. Yeah, no, I think she was just feeling very, very generous, and I was the recipient of her generosity. I love lumpia.
Well, baka kako pwede natin i-shoutout. Baka nagtitinda siya, pwede siyang orderan ng lumpia, no? Oo. Anong lumpia to? Ito lumpia ba to na yung parang lumpia na merong parang ano pangalan doon? Yung mongo, yung young mongo, yung ano pa? Ano mang klaseng lumpia yan?
Yeah, I mean, she's very talented, clearly. That it was delicious. So she puts in peas, ganon, at walang munggo nga. So I think traditionally lumpia merong yung bean sprouts ata, no?
Yun nga, bean sprouts. Oh, yun, parang di ba? Yung parang mongo bean sprout, young di ba?
Yeah, nice and crunchy.
Ayun.
Yeah, so it's ano ba naman tayo, Sonny? We're discussing food.
Oo nga. Ikaw, bigla ka nag-acknowledge, nag-shoutout ka ro, kaya nalipat na naman tayo sa food. Hindi, okay lang yan. Kaya lang na-discuss, syempre, we have to acknowledge, di ba? Ako naman, kaya ako sumingit, baka ako, alam mo na, in this pandemic times, walang hanaboy ibang tao, they tend to sell. Kaya ngayon, naglalabasan yung mga, di ba, nagtitinda. Marami tayong mga kababayan, mga listeners, and viewers na ganyan, they're getting into doing these things, yung mga nagbe-bake ng cake o nagluluto yan, ganyan, lumpia. So I was just thinking, baka gusto niyang binibenta niya yan. So baka pwedeng i-shout out, i-announce sa mga kababayan, baka alam mo na, pwede niyang negosyo.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, tama ka. So let's help people out.
Yes, tama yan. In our own small way. Okay, well, wala ka na sasabihin, attorney. Okay na yun.
No, thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure. And as I say, next week, give us ideas kung anong gusto nyong pag-usapan. We're more than happy, of course, to receive it. No.
Yes.
And any questions, talaga, just email me, and I'll try my best to help. So don't forget, tune in. So happy Jueves next week.
Yes, thank you very much, attorney. Ayan. So, kita-kita ho tayo next week for another Happy Thursday. Yan ang tawag natin ngayon, Happy Thursday. Para Happy Thursday because we both ways, masaya kayo dahil nagkukwentuhan kami ni attorney na mga at iba pa. And of course, yung the crux, the heart of our program, yung immigration information and advice. So kita-kita ulit tayo next Thursday again for another edition of Immigration Corner with LIRA. Simon, CABATBAT. Maraming salamat. Bye!
%, all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile. For 100% all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile. 100% all natural. Tasty. Healthy. Versatile. 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.